Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malkuto Leolam Vaed. Good day to you, my brother, my sister, wherever you are. That was the Shema, as they say it, and as they normally say it every time they meet to worship, to praise, and to give thanks to the Elohim of Israel. The Shema is an important prayer, or part of the spiritual prayer that the Jewish people make each time they meet together to worship and to give thanks. We find the Shema in Deuteronomy 6:4. And some rabbis claim that is one of the most important prayers that any believer of the Torah can make. I'd like us to continue after giving thanks with the Shema on part 2 of the life of our father Abraham. And I had mentioned that he had sons. Much is not said about daughters, but much has been said about sons that Abraham had. He had a son by Sarah. He also had a son by Hagar. He also had sons by Keturah, his third wife, according to Genesis chapter 25, verse 1 to 5. Now, from the portion of scripture that I had read earlier, we find out that Abraham had sons through this woman by the name Keturah. And the scripture continues to say that Abraham had concubines. One interesting thing that we need to know and to learn about concubines is that the scripture says they were not prostitutes. Most people have branded concubines to be prostitutes. That is scripture error. That is verse error. That is giving verses the wrong interpretation. That is to abuse those honorable women. Concubines were not prostitutes. David the psalmist had 10 concubines, according to according to 2 Samuel, as we read from chapter 16, he had 10 concubines. And these are the concubines whom Ahithophel advised Absalom to go into, and thus all Israel will know that he is at war with his father. And therefore concubines are not prostitutes. Let no one misinterpret scriptures. Concubines are not prostitutes. Having said that, before one can come into conclusions that concubines were prostitutes, they must first read the scriptures and understand what the scripture is saying. Abraham had concubines, Genesis 25, verse 1 to 6. Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, had 300 concubines. They were not prostitutes. Whenever the scripture is talking about prostitutes, it's clear it will mention the woman as prostitute, as we see in the life of Samson in Judges chapter 13 onwards up to chapter 16. Whenever he interacted with a woman who was not a honorable woman, maybe a prostitute. The scripture will mention that. And he came into contact with a prostitute. Judges chapter 8 mentions one of the best warriors by the name Gideon. Gideon had a concubine. That was not a prostitute. She gave birth to Shechem, one of his 70 sons. Judges 8, verse 29 to 32. And therefore, as we continue the journey with the life of Abraham, it's good to understand